All the material used in this video was shot on film by a group of 7 rail fans. 3 of these worked for the railroads. Back then, film and its processing cost was expensive, and most people shot sparingly, typically chopping up a train to fit more on the little 3-minute spools. Quite often, the little spools would run out just as that terrific shooting opportunity would show up, and the film would abruptly end. Film shooting was difficult compared to today's video shooting. The rewards were sometimes great. The image quality of even the little 8mm consumer film was generally better than the typical VHS consumer video cameras of the 80s. So we're fortunate that these fans and employees spent their time off recording many moments of our SP history. The railroad's own corporate cameras were usually turned on the high-profile glamour trains, while the more obscure but equally interesting trains were being recorded by rail fans willing to spend an afternoon chasing down an obscure local, such as this one in Sacramento. This branch line running along the Sacramento waterfront on Front Street ran its last SP revenue train in October 1978. This 1955-built Jeep 9 would stay on the roster until 1984, when it was traded back to EMD. The SP once had over 300 Jeep 9s purchased in the 50s. By the end of the 60s, they were usually not found on mainline trains. That was now the job for second-generation SD40s and 45s. The Jeeps continued on, many into the 90s, in branch line and local service. Their 1,750 horsepower and nearly 62,000 pounds of tractive effort were still useful for those assignments. The SP also owned a small fleet of 11 passenger Jeep 9s. These were generally very clean-looking due to their closer connection with the public. They were equipped with small steam boilers to heat the passenger cars, since this was the era before the electrically heated passenger cars. This period was when the SP commute business on the San Francisco Peninsula continued to use these specially equipped Jeeps. Even though SP quit the long-haul passenger business in 1970, it would retain the commute business into the 80s. The Jeep 9s weren't the mainstay locomotive on the commute line due to their lower horsepower figure when compared to FM Trainmasters and SDP 45s. They could handle only about 2 or 3 cars and keep up with the schedule demands. They were best suited for off-peak hours and weekend service when shorter trains could run in less dense traffic. The SP also had 2 passenger SD9s that were sometimes used for SP business trains. While they were great for freight drag service, they were somewhat marginal performers in commute duties, and as numbers 4450 and 4451, they were nicknamed Huff and Puff. The parking all day for 25 cents sign really dates this scene. We'll visit more SD9s used in freight service later on. During busy rush hour periods, the crowds would swell well beyond the mere trickle shown here, and trains would leave every 3 minutes. The commute line was the actual beginning of the coastline. By the mid-70s, the old 3rd and Townsend station had been replaced by a system of new concrete platforms with these modern-looking light poles. The platforms were all new in these scenes, but the show is little changed with dozens of SP noses pointed south toward San Jose. Today's lineup is a mix of Jeep 9s and turbocharged SDP 45s, with V20s making twice the Jeep's horsepower. If the average SP fan could go back in time, he or she would probably pay any price for a ticket to ride the 1923 built Harriman cars being pulled out of town by a Jeep 9. We can recreate that experience for a few moments here. If you'd really like to step back, we can leave San Francisco again, but just like it was 1958, riding in the cab of an E9 powered Daylight. Even back then, Jeep 9s were used on the commutes, such as the one to our left. This one will wear the original Black Widow paint scheme for a few more years. The 47 miles between San Francisco and San Jose are double-tracked, and we're authorized to do 50 miles an hour here with higher speeds to come. The Daylight finds itself in San Jose to pick up additional passengers. We'll come back to somewhat more recent times to look at San Jose and how the mix of freight and commute business kept SP workers hopping. The roundhouse and turntable are gone now, but they were still a vital part of operations before Caltrain took over and started running push-pull trains, which eliminated the need to turn locomotives around. A freight with a leading GE U-33C threads by while another commute locomotive takes a spin on the turntable. These Jeeps were equipped with dual controls in the cab and could operate long hood forward. Some of these units had larger fuel tanks in addition to the water tank for the steam boiler, and there was no room left for the air tanks. These were moved to the top of the locomotive and referred to as torpedo Jeeps. Keeping track of all this activity was a demanding job, and the nearby College Park Tower saw its share of business while controlling 4 main tracks. The tower here had 88 interlocking controls that the operator had to manage. The tower operator could watch trains on a lighted panel much like this one, and he could set signals and switches. Knowing the schedule of not only dozens of commute trains, but the Amtrak trains as well, helped the operator with a task very near and dear to SP management, namely the expeditious routing of through freight trains, locals, transfers, and switch jobs. This is the Roseville to San Jose RVSJ. Arriving early in the morning. This was usually a 90-plus car train that tied up lots of traffic at grade crossings, something else the operator had to be aware of in his plans. The nearby Redwood Junction Tower was equipped with about 44 interlocking controls. Some are visible here. The office area included an SP private phone and a typewriter for typing up paper messages. This is when the SP still used train orders or flimsies held for the engineer and conductor on an upper and lower spring-loaded stand. The engineer and conductor would each grab a copy of the orders that had been tied up by the operator. The orders would not only tell the crew what to do, but would also advise them of other trains they would meet down the line. This practice of paper orders has been replaced entirely with centralized traffic control and, where necessary, radio dispatching. This wasn't as much fun when it was raining or very windy outside. The passenger facility at San Jose was